Hey there, welcome to Minimalist Kitchen. Here we are starting off this dish with some rice, and we're just using the Ninja Foodie pressure cooker air fryer combo to get some rice going. And when using this, you just use a 1-to-1 ratio of rice to water. And you'll see that stuff I put in there, I call it meat juices down at the bottom. That's simply some of the stuff that was in the pressure cooker after one of the meals I cooked a week ago or so. I throw that juice into the freezer and you throw it into the rice. So here we are, we're cutting some onions, and it doesn't matter how you cut them, as long as they're pretty much evenly sized. You want pieces to cook evenly. Big pieces will take longer to cook than smaller pieces, so just cut them up evenly and throw them in the pan. Down there you see if it doesn't sizzle, then your cast iron isn't hot enough. Here we're cutting up some other vegetables. This time I'm using some sweet peppers I found at the store. You can use any kind of pepper. If you want to use a hot pepper, go for it. You could use mushrooms. You could use celery. You could use carrots, whatever it is. Just throw in another vegetable. So you got your kind of base going with your vegetables. I threw some salt in there. Every time I start sautéing these veggies, salt helps sweat the oils out, and it makes it cook, and it'll be a little sweeter. Salt adds sweetness. Let's see, we're adding some spice. It doesn't really matter what spice you use. I used that chili powder and mustard powder, I think. I don't know. It's great. So here we are cleaning up. The whole point of this process is we're cleaning up as we go. So I've washed off one of the cutting boards. We're getting ready to get the meat cut here. And here we go. We're again with the onions. We're cutting it up into small chunks. And just doesn't really matter how big of chunks. I'm going to go with about 1-inch chunks here. And I'm just going to kind of make sure all of my chunks of meat are the same size so that they cook evenly and consistently. All of these extra scraps I save, I hang on to, use them to make some broth. And you can cook the juices out of them. Use those juices to make the stuff that I put into the rice. You don't let anything go to waste. Here, I thought the veggies were just starting to look a little dry. You don't want them to start burning, so the way you do that is to add some oil. And you can add a lot of things. I could have added some vinegar to kind of liven them up a little bit, but I just went with oil. We're back to cutting. We're about at our halfway point here, coming up on 15 minutes. We got to start getting this chicken into the pan soon, because it's going to take about 10 minutes to cook. Don't let those veggies sit for too long. Keep things moving. And we got to get our spices going on our chicken over here before we get them into the pan. Just like with the veggies earlier, it doesn't matter a whole lot. Maybe start off with some ginger or something. I like turmeric for the color. There's some more pepper spices, a little bit garlic powder, salt, I don't know, and some parsley or thyme or whatever that is. So the veggies come out of the pan and into that bowl. Some oil into the pan, and the chicken goes in. We're going to let the chicken cook for a bit on its own, get the edges nice and crispy and not necessarily seared. You don't want to overdo anything here. It's just chicken. But we're going to let that go on its own for a bit. Again, with some more cleaning some stuff up. Throw some salt and oil in there. That'll help keep stuff sticking from the pan. Of course, salt's going to be good for your food anyway. It just makes it taste better. And of course, the key to this dish, any kind of drunken chicken, is of course the beer. We're going to use that beer to deglaze the pan. And that basically just means throw some liquid in there and scratch away at the bottom to get all the junk and burnt crud up off the bottom and get that incorporated within the food. So it's great for the pan. It helps keep things non-stick, and it flavors your food. And we dump these veggies back into the cast iron. That chicken had a little bit of time in there to cook on its own, and now they come back to join the party. And we add some more beer. Probably about half of what's left is good. That's one of those big cans that's usually pretty good for a dish like this, and you'll have some left over. At this point, we're going to turn the stove down to low, and honestly, that might not even be necessary. The cast iron skillet's going to retain most of that heat and keep this stuff cooking at a low simmer anyway. So you might be able to turn the stove completely off, but I just like to turn it down to low, and we're going to let this simmer out and finish cooking off. And basically, while we clean up the kitchen and finish off this beer, in theory, once the kitchen's cleaned, the beer is gone, the food should be done. I'm going to go ahead and take this rice out now that the bowl is clean. You can let it sit in there longer. You can even just let the rice sit in there. I like to pull it out before too long, otherwise it starts sticking to the inside of that pot, and that's no fun. So as this is finishing up, I just want to say thank you for checking out this video, checking out this channel, The Minimalist Kitchen. This is our first video here, and we hope you stick around for some more of them. Give us a subscribe and a like. And check down there in the description. We've got a link to an online store where you can actually go and buy some of these cast iron skillets, end grain cutting boards, these oak spatulas that I'm using. Just if you want to support what we do, support the channel, help us grow, and honestly, help me buy a house. This whole thing is pretty much just set up so I can try to sell some of these cutting boards and buy a house. So thanks for your support. All right, let's get back to things here. This food's just about ready. The beer's gone. We're going to turn off the stove, and we're going to get the hot water going. The hot water is important because after we dump this food out here, well, here, check this out. We're going to take this pan over to that hot water, and you do not want to use cold water in this process. You can ruin your skillet. Hot water plus hot skillet is fine. Cold water plus hot skillet is bad news. So you're going to get it going under this hot water and just scrub out all that stuff, rinse it out, and put it right back onto the stove here with medium heat. We want to evaporate all that water off. We want to dry this cast iron out as quickly as we can. Water on cast iron is not a good thing. So we dry it out, and then we're going to move on to seasoning it. We just put a quick little thin coat of oil all over everything, getting into all those nooks and crannies, doing the tops, the bottoms, the sides. We're going to turn the heat off. And now as that cast iron cools down, it's going to close down the pores and basically capture that oil on the inside of it. So we wipe off the excess oil, and we just leave it there on the stove to cool off and dry. So we've made it to the end here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something that can help you in the kitchen. Here we are. You can see it is 6:56 according to my stove, 6:57 according to my microwave. So we are all completely cleaned up before 7 o'clock. And there's little Joe chowing down on his drunken chicken. Thanks again for watching. Check out this video over here that YouTube thinks you would like. And over here on this other one, this is my current favorite dish. Check that out, and of course, hit that subscribe button, like and share whatever you want down in the comments. Thanks.